Hello everyone, this is Naerina from 40k Theories and welcome to the November 2021 edition of the Patreon Q&A sessions. As the Inquisitor is in sickbed, he has charged me to read his answers to you. If I have my own additions to these questions, I'll make sure you know which parts are my own commentary. As always, if you would like your questions answered, then click the link in the video description below and help support the channel by becoming a patron. Also, I am going to butcher these names, most likely, so my apologies. Now, let's jump into the questions. Griffin of Might asks, could the Nori possibly aid in repairing the Golden Throne or fixing the Webway portal? Theoretically, it is possible for them to aid in repairing the Golden Throne, seeing as according to the novel Ghost Warrior, the Golden Throne is made from stolen Eldari technology. As for the Webway, it would seem somewhat unlikely, seeing as it is Old One tech, not Eldari tech. But whether the Nori will actually help or not seems kind of moot, seeing as they're supposedly being hunted down by one of the Grey Knight Brotherhoods. They also ask, how do the Ecclesiarchy and Adepta Sororiters view the Custodies? I don't think this has ever been formally addressed, but if I had to guess, I would assume they would view the Custodies with some degree of reverence, seeing as how they are the Emperor's bodyguards. And, as in Naerina's own comment, well, I do believe it depends on the person. Some of them might be like, ooh, shirtless men. But that's not very professional, so they don't really speak about it, at least in public. In addition, they ask, is the gene seed of blood angels who fall to the Red Thirst or Black Rage affected in any way? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by this exactly, but the gene seed of those blood angels that fall to the Red Thirst, according to both the Blood Quest graphic novels and the novel Devastation of Baal, is known to start developing a number of mutations such as bony crests, horns and spines, gaining increased muscle mass and turning the skin red, turning them into what are effectively red vampire gorillas. Voice of the Emperor asks, who was the demon prince that killed Eliphas the Inheritor on Cronus, Dawn of War Dark Crusade? Some random demon prince, or was it a word-bearer of significance? As far as I'm aware, the demon prince itself was not named, no. Austin Horner asks, and this is spoilers for the Siege of Terra novel Warhawk, so if you haven't read it and don't want to know about it, please skip this question. In the novel Warhawk, Khan of the World Eaters is slain and dismembered by Sigismund of the Imperial Fists. Would this make the Khan that would appear in later conflicts a demon born of the original Khan's soul, or do you believe that Khan has a similar pact with Khorne as Lucius has with Slaanesh, allowing for his resurrection? According to a number of codices, it was implied that Khorne breathed life back into Khan's body. The novella Khan, Eater of Worlds, would mention that his body has become enshrined upon one of the World Eater's vessels following the events of the siege, but prior to those of Scalathrax, before eventually being brought back to life. Off the top of my head, I don't remember much of the events that described when Khan came back to life as detailed within that novella, but if I had to guess, it's safe to assume that some manner of warp shenanigans were involved. They also ask, given the decimation Jagatai suffers in his duel with Mortarion, with it being confirmed by the white scars that he neither has a pulse nor is breathing when he is being evacuated, is it possible that similar to Vulcan, Jagatai inherited the Emperor's perpetual nature, as he is known to have partaken in events following the Horus Heresy? I'm sure we'll find out for certain next novel, but if I had to guess, I would assume that Acte or the other Psyker in Elanius Pius's retinue would have a hand in restoring him to life, somehow. Pantadeus asks, is the Imperium on the other side of the Great Rift completely separated, or is there some Imperial rule still there? Everything within Imperium Nihilus falls under the jurisdiction of Commander Dante of the Blood Angels, as following the devastation of Baal, when Guilliman met with Dante, Dante would be appointed as the regent of Imperium Nihilus. It is mostly separate from the other half of the Imperium, Imperium Sanctus, and you can travel between the two regions via the Nachmund Gauntlet, but everything in Imperium Nihilus is, frankly, kinda shit. They also ask, if the Taos greater good warp entity were to fully awaken, would it cause its own Eye of Terror? Personally, I don't think so. When the Eye of Terror opened due to Slaanesh's birth, it was said to have spilled through the minds of the Eldari. Given that the Tau themselves are nowhere as psychically gifted as the Eldari, I don't see such an event occurring. The warp could potentially attempt to spill through the minds of the physically sensitive auxiliary races of the Tau Empire, such as the Nikasar or even humans. But even then, as far as we are aware, the Eldari still have a stronger connection to the warp than either of these races. PewPSB asks, does the Inquisition police the Admik, or are they self-regulating, like having an internal Admik Inquisition? There is a department of the Inquisition that does oversee certain things within the Mechanicus, the Auto Machinum, but given that the Mechanicus are still technically an entirely separate entity from the Imperium itself, I would assume they would have their own internal departments to police their actions. And Naerina's own thoughts on this? Yeah, of course they try to check on Admik and what they are up to, but as stated, they are separate from the Imperium, so one can only go so far when one checks on them. Yeah, I bet they have an inner police. Not sure though. And finally, Zero Hits asks, what sort of authority do the Sisters of Silence have within the Imperium? Is it similar or on par with the Custodies, or do they sit in their own category? This might have changed recently, but from what I recall, they have bugger all. Because following the Horus Heresy, and especially with the rise of the Ecclesiarchy, the Sisters were effectively forced to disband due to being viewed as unclean as a result of their lack of souls. Between the heresy and the return of Guilliman, the Sisters, as far as we know, have only been involved in a single Imperial event, the War of the Beast. And even then, those Sisters that were involved in the conflict would all be killed in battle against the Orcs. Naerina's comment to this is, as a person who has played Dark Heresy, the RPG game, tabletop RPG, blanks are people who make you feel, at the very least, uncomfortable. There's this kind of aura of emptiness, of nothingness, which creates this kind of feeling like, I'm not sure if I should trust this person. And if you have a group of people who make you feel horrible, you don't want to spend time with them, like regardless of how nice they are. Because you just get the gut feeling like, no, cannot work with these people. And because the Imperium is, made of human beings, I bet they have the same gut reaction. So, I'm not sure what sort of authority they have, but if you have a group of people you don't like, you usually have very little to do with them. And, yeah, I'm pretty sure that if the Imperium is capable of hating Xenos, they might even hate on Sisters of Silence. So yeah, I'm not sure if they have, or if people want to give authority to these sisters. So, don't know. And that concludes this edition of the Patreon Q&A sessions. As always, if you would like your questions answered, then click the link in the video description below and help support the channel by becoming a patron. Until next time, this has been Naerina from 40k Theories, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye!